Welcome back, YouTube. Part 2 of the cheap bow project. The bow I picked up off of Amazon. Not Amazon, Craigslist. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's been early morning, guys, and my job's been making me work a lot lately. So, cheap used bow, picked up off of Craigslist, and seeing what we can do with it. So in part 1, it came exactly how I bought it. The only upgrade done to it was the guy added a kisser button. And I guess if that makes you throw a fit, because he added a $10 part to it, at the time a $300 bow, then I guess you can click off. But so what I did this time around, as I told you, I'm going to do some very modern upgrades to it, or moderate upgrades to it, and see what happens. See how the accuracy goes up with upgrades. These are not going to be super expensive upgrades. These are going to be very affordable, very low-end upgrades, and see what the accuracy does. So I added right there alright, so we're gonna do the shooting video, and which I actually hate doing. We're back at 35 yards. So if you remember from the first video, I was shooting 25, and I know someone's going to chime in and say, those are terrible shots. They would be correct. But I mean, good enough to hunt with. So I'm back here at 35, and I'll show you how much just the arrow rest, the stabilizer change, and then the addition of making, with all that being done, and then able to make this arrow heavier, show you exactly how good this will be. So I'll shoot, they're all going to go from the middle, and we'll just see what I can do as far as a group. Huh. A little bit to the right and low, or left and low. Dead center low. Little low. I don't know if that comes across on camera. Other than the fact I'm a little low, this sight is really bugging me. I can't fine tune it that well. We'll go take a look at that group at 35 yards. Again, with maybe a little bit higher. That's a dead animal. Alright, as you can clearly tell, it's low, but man, 3 of them at that, the whole group like that at 35 yards. That's a pin adjustment away from just being really stellar. I told you, high FOC arrows, Range Fairy's right, they just behave better. And that bow, couple setups, tweaks. All right, so cheap bow upgrades, you saw them. I was gonna break it down and just add these in, make their own separate videos, but I don't have a lot of time lately, and I just felt like they don't warrant their own videos. But interesting note, the stabilizer, biggest difference. The weight heavier stabilizer right there, it made this bow so steady, so much more steady. I can add more weight to it. As I was telling you guys, that I can actually add a lot more weight to the end of this and still make it a little bit more steady. Although on the other end, I'm going to add more weight to a hunting bow. I'm on the fence whether I want to do that. But I have the weights. I can add more weight to it. Honestly, for the price I end up getting in this, I think I would just go ahead and buy like a Bee Stinger or some higher end hunting stabilizer and just go. But it does give it a cool look, and just I'm gonna have to rattle can this later. Now the biggest the biggest, most awesome upgrade in my opinion was this arrow rest. As far as accuracy goes, I think the Whisker Biscuit was plenty accurate for what I was shooting. I don't think the Whisker Biscuit lent itself any more or any less accuracy inherently. But this arrow rest sped my bow up a lot. I was shooting 6 inches higher at 25 yards. And remember, with a 60-pound bow, I take all the speed I can get. And 6 inches higher, so what did I do? Heavy arrow. I started adding more weight. I am now shooting a 350 grain arrow at 28 inches. The was Victory V-Force. I had to look over my shoulder. Victory V-Force, so it's the cheap standard diameter Victory arrows. I'm shooting a 300 grain tip on it. We are now getting into what I really like arrows, like 600 grain arrows. Set up heavy FOC arrows just perform wildly better, in my opinion. The wind doesn't affect them. They go where you want them to go. And of course, we know, maybe you don't agree with the Ashby studies, maybe you don't agree with the Ranch Fairy test lab stuff. I do. I'm a big believer in it. These arrows with this bow is going to be a showstopper. As far as accuracy goes, the next thing I would upgrade is the sight. I'm noticing that to really fine tune that sight, this does not have this sight that comes on it does not have second focal plane adjustments, and it doesn't have the fine tuning. It's very coarse to move up and down. So as far as like if you want to target shoot, that's where this bow is going to really fall out. And again, this is going to be a nerd video, but I mean, it's just proving that you don't have to have an expensive bow. Like I said, this is a single cam 60-pound bow I got off Craigslist by Bear that had a ready to hunt package that a guy probably bought off of like Academy and shot well with it. I think the only upgrade I shot the first time with was I have a thumb release. Most people will do a finger release. I don't care, that's what I had. But like I said, out of the box, this was a good hunting bow for close range, average Joe hunters. But it's amazing how when we start changing things up, things start getting a lot more accurate. As long as I did my job, it did its job. So if you like the video, hit that sub button. We're growing. I like it. It keeps us motivated. We're going to try to do some more hunting videos coming up. We're going to do a lot more shoot videos this summer because everyone loves seeing those shoot videos. Probably cutting back on the nerd bow videos. I'm just kidding. We're going to hit the nerd bow videos as much as I can because I started this channel for heavy arrows, and that's what you're going to get here at Heavy Arrow TV. So stick around, hit that sub button, And remember to always keep it heavy.